Hello, Alex Sokolblosser here for another edition of From Our Land to Your Hand. And today, out in the vineyard, because we are dealing with one of the most important growing things that happen in the vineyard, which is bloom. Bloom, or what they call in some countries flowering. So this is when the grapes are hermaphroditic, meaning they don't need any help in terms of procreating, in terms of making berries. You didn't think we'd be talking about the birds and the bees in this one, did you? Here we go. So they are able to self-pollinate to create the berries with which we can make amazing world-class quality Pinot Noir. So let's take a look at what flowering looks like. But first, can you smell it? It's not my deodorant. That is the beautiful smell of bloom. It's actually one of my favorite smells. I know it's one of my mom's favorite smells in the vineyard. Usually when bloom happens, I smell it before I see it because the wind just picks up and some people hate it, but I think it is an amazing smell. Okay, bloom. What does it look like? Okay, here we go. Let's take a little view of it. Okay, let's take a look at bloom. So, this is a good example. This cluster right here is mostly done. You don't see a lot of the little white things. Those are all gone. You see the small green berries have formed. Whereas on this cluster, you really see the berries forming and the self-pollination happening. We're basically at around 50% bloom, 50 to 80% bloom here in the vineyard. Bloom started on June 2nd. That was when we had first bloom. On June 10th, we had 50% bloom. And I think bloom will be done in probably another week. This is a longer bloom time or flowering time here at Sokolblosser just because we've had a very cool, wet spring. So bloom has not moved as quickly as it has in previous years. So usually, I mean, it's not too uncommon to have a cool, cool wet weather during bloom. So taking, taking 2 weeks to complete it is not unheard of. But why it's important, why bloom is critical, is bloom is the time when the vine is taking up the most nutrition from the ground up through the vine into the leaves. It is, if this were a car, at this point the engine would be running at top speed. If this was my piece of crap car, it'd be drinking as much gasoline to go 60 miles an hour. And this vine is drinking as much nutrients out of the ground to make bloom happen, because bloom takes a lot of energy. It takes a lot of nutrition. This is the one time in the plant's life during the growing season when it needs everything. So, so it's going full steam right now. Can you feel? Oh, it's hot. It's hot. Just kidding. I'm just kidding. No, you can't really tell that. But the vine is going crazy. Another thing that's important about bloom is when we have 50% bloom, which is roughly last Thursday, I know that we can set our watches that we're going to start harvesting 100 days past 50% bloom. So that puts us at around September 17th. So if you come to Sokolblosser Winery around September 17th, boom, we'll be picking these grapes, most likely. This is one of the first blocks you pick. This is the Peachtree block, which is right near our tasting room. So we'll probably be going crazy starting around the 17th of September.